Hello, I'm Mitch Goldberg. You're watching Be the Boss of Your Money. We are live. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching this in the live stream, you have any questions? If you do, hit me up in the comments. If you're watching this in the replay, thank you so much for joining me. And certainly, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll check for those. Your time is very valuable, so I greatly appreciate you deciding to spend some of it with me right now. We're talking about a couple of important things. This is where you come to this show to learn about investing, personal finance, how to select stocks for your portfolio. We talk about tips for beginner investors, advanced investors, portfolio management. But mostly what I like to do is I like to take a lot of what's happening in the news, boil it down for you, and really help you and really help you get a better understanding of what's going on in the world with how it relates to investing in money, the stock market, that sort of thing. Those are really important things. So we do a summary of the day and we mix it in with personal finance. I've been doing what I do now for over 30 years. And I've learned a lot, and I love sharing it. I love educating. I've got the heart of a teacher, and maybe that would have been a good career for me. But I'm doing this, which I love also, and I get to teach. So we're talking about 10 things today that have to do with investing, personal finance. These are just like 10 quick things I thought of because I'm going to be a guest on Long Island Business News. They weekly interview where they talk about business, markets, things like that. And they asked me to be on tomorrow. And I'm thinking, what would I talk about? So I just jotted down a couple of things while they were on my mind. And I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking this would actually be good content for a live stream because it's important. Also want to just reiterate, we spoke about General Motors, and that's seems to be getting some more play. I saw a hedge fund manager really talk up the stock. I'm enthused with GM because it's finally no longer just a restructuring play, and it's also now becoming an ESG play. But, we talk about things like that, and that's why you should tune in every day. And if you miss the show, you can watch on social media, on Facebook, LinkedIn, but YouTube also. And if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, it's Client First Strategy on YouTube. I take these videos and I pull out like 30-second, 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute clips of the very important points that I make in a live stream. And I post those on my YouTube page as a separate, quick, snippet educational video. And if you watch 4 or 5 of them, they go by quick and you'll learn a lot. So without further ado, let's got my notes here, and I'll tell you also why I'm so excited. Got a little reopening to do today. Got a box today from B&H, and when I get stuff from B&H, I don't know if you're familiar with B&H, but when I get something from B&H, I kind of do the the Snoopy dance. My ears go up and down, and it's if I may say so myself, it's kind of cute. I get all excited and happy, and I'm all cute and running around. It's fun. I love getting stuff from B&H. You could never have enough photography. Okay, enough cameras. So let's roll the intro, and we're going to get into this stuff. It's going to be fun. Hit me up with your questions. Here we go. All right. Thank you very much for joining me. I just got a note from my friend Ron. You're like my audio engineer. The plosives are back. Let me see. Sometimes people touch the sound mixer. It looks like everything is okay. Maybe it's just me. I'm too close to the mic. Maybe. Okay, so one of those days, a little allergy. Okay. I am hilarious. Thank you. So it's an interesting day. And one of the things I want to talk about is it looks like the Reddit community has found a new target in pot stocks. So ride it for what it's worth. If that fits you and your risk tolerance and your strategy. But I actually did a whole live stream on pot stocks about 2 months ago. Yeah, about 2 months ago, where I said, I think this is going to be, everyone is looking for the next growth. Everyone's looking for the next emerging growth opportunity. And I said, I think it's pot stocks. And I talked about several pot stock ETFs, and they are rocking. They are rolling. They are going up. And, that's pretty cool to see the enthusiasm, even if it is Reddit stuff. The problem with Reddit, and people who get excited in Reddit, is it's hard to look at those moves as permanent moves, because they're kind of in it just for the short squeeze and then they get out. I like to hold stocks in client accounts for years. I'll buy a stock with the expectation that 3, 4, or 5 years I'll make a lot of money for clients in a stock. And there are times when you could be in a stock for 5 years, but all of the gains come within, a 3 to 6 month period, and it makes the whole thing worthwhile. If I could tell when that 3 to 6 month or 1 year period was going to occur, then I would just buy for those times and sell after those times. But if anybody thinks I am smart enough to do that, I really appreciate that vote of confidence. But, I'm not. I can admit that. I'm not. Okay. So let's do this. Let's switch the camera angle. Let me show you what I'm so excited about. Let's take a look at what's in the box, because this literally, I've been waiting for this box for like 3 days, and it was supposed to come on I think Sunday was supposed to arrive in the snow. It just was late. Then Monday, and then it's Tuesday, and I got an alert that it might be delayed again. And I just said, let me just check, open the front door, and I could see through the window. I saw like the corner of the box, and I'm like, that's for me. And I knew it wasn't from Amazon. It's from B&H. So let's just take a quick look. It was either open this with you now or just like skip the live stream and just open it, because I've been waiting for this. I'll tell you why I have this stuff here. Okay. You may notice I'm on a 2-camera setup, and I've completely redone my whole live stream setup. I'm not using the only thing that's the same. The lights are still the same. Actually, the lights are not all the same. If you notice, there's a purple light behind me and a purple light over on that wall over there. So I've got some different colors going, and I have the switcher. So watch this. See, I'm going to look over there, and now I'm going to do this. Watch this. Look at that. See that? That's a big deal to do that because you can't do that with a webcam. It's got to be with HDMI inputs. So I have 2 cameras going right now, and my setup has room for 4 HDMI inputs. So I have 1 into my computer for share screens and picture-in-picture. I have 3 inputs for cameras, but I only have 2 cameras. Now, did I need the 3rd camera? I wanted it. All right. And this is the new camera right here. This is it. This is the Canon Vixia. And I know a lot of people are into, the like the Sony A600 or the Canon M50. And, there's great cameras out there. But I feel like I am getting such clarity and such a clear picture with the webcams. And the thing about the webcams is, these are $250. They work great. They run forever. They're made for video. So it's not like they're going to be on for like 25 minutes and get too hot like a DSLR and automatically turn themselves off. And, they're maneuverable. They're easy to use. They all have flip out screens. They're great. So this is really the key thing. So this is going to probably go, there's a boom arm that's holding a hair light above my head. You see, I'm a little shiny on my head and a little shine over on the headset. That's from the boom light. It separates you from the background. So we've got the camera, and then I have a camera bracket mount. That's to mount the camera to the boom arm. This is the other part of the camera mount to put it on attach it to the boom arm. Had to get a couple cables. I've got a 10-foot HDMI cable and a 15-foot HDMI cable because I'm not sure how much cable I'm going to need to run the camera all the way from the boom arm down, straight down underneath my workstation and into the back of my 810 Mini, which is my switcher. And then I have the super clamp. And let's, I don't know, what else do I have? I have a, oh, let me take this out. This here is from Rode. This is a XLR adapter for my Rode Mobile Go wireless mic. So I can use a wireless mic. Let's say I want to aim one of my cameras like over there, and I want to do a whiteboard thing and walk around and not be tethered to the mic on the mount over here. That mic, the Rode Mobile Go is a great wireless mic, but these wireless mics don't compare to like a True Blue XLR mic like this one, the Shure MV7. If you ask me what's the most important part of my setup, it is this right here. It's the mic, not the cameras. People think it's all the cameras. Nah, I'm not going to throw the I'm not going to toss the camera, but you'd be amazed how good this is. If you want to do a vlog or a live stream, or you want to up your Zoom game, this camera is perfect. I'm on Zoom calls all the time, and people are like, "Holy cow, man! You're coming out in like 3D. You look unbelievable. You're so clear." It's this, and if you think we're going back to 2019, you're probably wrong. I'm going to be doing a whole live stream on my setup. Okay, on my live stream setup, and hopefully you'll watch. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I do know a bunch of people that would be into that sort of thing. Open the box, Snoopy. Thank you, buddy. So if you're out there, you have any questions, let me know. Let's get into the meat of the matter. We're into this for 12 minutes already, so let's do it. All right. Maybe my mic is, I think maybe maybe I'm trying to make sure I get the distance right. Maybe my mic was too high. Maybe this is a little better. Hello, you're listening to Smooth Jazz. Okay. Okay. So, question I always ask people, we're getting into personal finance, investing. All right. What good is a portfolio if you can't stick with it in a down market? I ask that a lot. And what I mean by that is, if you're in a portfolio that is too risky for you and it has the potential to go down a lot in a down market or a bear market, or if just we have a bad couple of months, you could get frightened out of the portfolio and sell, lock in your losses, miss a recovery potentially. You just always have to use that word potentially. But the point is, that's because you were probably taking too much risk. You were really investing with a risk tolerance that was too high for you. So what you need to do is take a step back and say, I don't want to sit here and time the market. Some people could, if they could try it if they want, but by and large, time in the market is more important than timing the market. So if your portfolio is too risky for you, that could make you prone to selling at inopportune times. And then you buy when the market goes back up, and over lengthy periods of time, you just set yourself further and further back in terms of reaching your financial goals. Let's go to the next one. What's the difference between risk and volatility? When Wall Streeters talk about risk, they really talk about volatility. Well, there's potential for the stock to go up. It could go down a lot. It could be move up and down. And okay, so fine. Let me explain something. Stocks are risky. Investing is risky. There's volatility. Volatility, I describe as the ups and downs of the stock market when your goals are far in advance. If you have a long time horizon, 20 years, 30 years, 10 years out, the volatility are just ups and downs while you're moving toward your goals. Up and down, markets come back, right? Historically. So what's risk? Risk is the ups and downs of the stock market when your goals are near term. So let's say you have a specific goal that's only a year away, and you've been investing for that goal for many, many years. And now the market goes down, which the market can go down at any time for many, many different reasons, sometimes for reasons we don't even know until some time passes. So the market's down, and now you can't wait 5 or 10 years or 3 years for a rebound. So that means you're going to probably lose money when you sell your investments to pay for your financial goal, because the stock market is down and you don't have any more time, any more runway to let the market recover. So that, my friends, that's how I define risk. So that's why as you get older, you get less risky, more stable with your investments to counter that. Okay. So that's the difference between risk and volatility. Volatility is okay. There's always some risk if you're an investor. There's risk if you're not an investor. It's called inflation. It's called losing purchasing power. Okay. You think about it. If you just sit in cash and you've got $1 million in cash and you're like, oh, I'm going to, live hopefully around, let's say I live another 20 years and 50,000 a year. The point is every year you're losing $20,000 or so to inflation. I mean, it's like paying an astronomical money management fee to lose money because of inflation. So that's why there's risk to doing nothing. When you do nothing, you sit in cash. People say, I don't want to take risk. No, what you're doing is you're not taking on volatility. But if your investment time horizon is far in advance, volatility is just ups and downs of the stock market. That's going to happen. Risk, on the other hand, is because your goals are coming at you very quickly. They're very near-term events. And that's when volatility becomes a risk, because at that point now you might have to sell into a down market and not have all the money you need to pay for your financial goal. Okay. One of the biggest investor mistakes I see, it happens to people when they're right out of the gate. A novice investor, they're right, they make money, it seems kind of easy. It validates a false sense of ability. Just because you made money quickly, like the last 6 months, the market's been going up. You could have made money in stocks, maybe in Bitcoin, maybe GameStop. It seemed easy to you because those are all symptoms of a bull market, loose monetary policy, and money flooding the system. But you didn't all of a sudden become smarter. Okay, what happens is you were just riding a bull market. And when you start to think your abilities are better than what they are, that's when you're really susceptible to making a mistake and you give up on things like diversification because maybe you don't think you really need it, or you start to think, oh, diversification, that's for losers. So diversification, that's not a strategy to maximize returns. Diversification is a strategy you use to lower risk so that your entire portfolio doesn't become the return of your worst investment. It doesn't protect you. It doesn't protect your portfolio from going down in a generally down market, but it does give you an ability to not get wrecked because of just a concentrated holding. Okay, so let's talk index funds. I don't know if this is really a personal finance thing, but index funds versus individual stocks. Okay, so just so you know, you can't invest directly into an index, but you could invest in a fund that tracks or mimics an index. So let's say you go into an index fund, and after the 2008-2009 market rout, Great Recession, there was a big rush of money that went on through 2019 into index funds, and that was all the rage. And Vanguard, the big mutual fund complex, was just raking in the dollars, and everybody's throwing money into index funds. And all of a sudden, we get to after the first quarter of 2020, and now individual stocks is all the rage, and people are back interested in individual stocks, and people are in clubs and things like that. And I have clients who are retired in Southern Florida in the Boca del Rey area, and they're all trading individual stocks at home. Maybe it's because they're bored. Maybe they finally became confident to get in the market. These are also the people that got unconfident in the market 20 years ago. but it takes a long time for confidence to come back. So people said that so much money going into index funds was like a bubble, and it was just blowing out the same stocks. You know, the Facebooks, the Amazons, the Microsofts, the Apples of the world, because all that, every time you put money into an index fund, the money goes into the biggest stocks and then the small stocks in the index proportionately. So that's a bubble. Okay. So now that people are going into individual stocks, so now that's a sign of a bubble. That remains to be seen. I do see pockets of bubbles in the market now. But I've always seen pockets of bubbles, even in down markets. Sometimes there's bearish bubbles as well. All right. So that's another thing. So how to assess risk tolerance. So risk tolerance is first and foremost a function of your time horizon to your financial goals. Oh, I'm sensing a camera switch. Boom. So risk tolerance is a function of time horizon. The longer you have until you need your money, the longer you could let your investments grow, the higher your risk tolerance. The less time you have, because you'll need your money sooner, the lower your risk tolerance. Now, it doesn't work like that for everybody. It's just a place to start. There are some people with a long runway of investing ahead of them, but they just internally, about them, they're not comfortable with so much risk. It's a personal choice. So it doesn't necessarily mean that young people are automatically aggressive investors and that seniors are automatically conservative investors. I think there's a little bit of both. I think there's potential for a little bit of both in every investor, just to a greater or lesser extent. And it also depends, if you're a senior, for example, a senior citizen, and you have a lot of money coming in from a pension, well, maybe that's something that allows you to take a little bit more risk with your investments, because you're not going to need your investments as soon, or you might not need to rely on your investments. If you're somebody who is on the younger set and you're starting your own business and you feel like you can't take a lot of risk in the market because you might need that money for liquidity purposes to keep your business running. In the beginning, that's when it's very expensive to run a business. It's always expensive to run a business, but in the beginning especially, well, then maybe you are going to be somewhat risk averse and you don't want to keep your money in the market because of your situation. So it's not cut and dry, but generally speaking, what I start with is time horizon first, and then I can start to assess risk tolerance. So let's take a look what else we have. Okay. My number one job. Now, you might think like my number one job is to go out there and find the next hot stock, or, the next winner, or, should we go into more crypto? Should we go into more pot stocks? Should we go into this? Should we go into that? Believe it or not, I don't obsess about that. It is a very big part of what I do. I happen to love doing that. But the biggest job I have is to help clients literally watch paint dry while I help prevent them from acting on their worst impulses. That's what I do. Investing is not a matter of just picking stocks. It's a matter of waiting and giving things time to work, even when they seem like they're not going to work. As an investor, you're going to face many times in your investing career when the chips are down and it seems like you are just doing the dumbest thing in the world and you need to get out of your positions. You need to sell out. But those times don't last, but they are psychologically very difficult to get through, especially for less experienced investors. Okay, so let's go on a little bit more here. The $1 million lottery ticket. You have a $1 million lottery ticket. If you invest a little bit of money into your 401k plan when you're young, let's say $500 a month, grow it over time, $600, $700 a month. And then as you get a little bit older, maybe you jack that up to $1,000 a month. As you get older, you put that money away month in, month out. It grows, it compounds. Over 20, 25 years, that is that is your $1 million lottery ticket. Now, if I gave you a $1 million lottery ticket today, you'd be excited. I could say to you, hey, I have $1 million, lottery ticket. This is for you. Here you go. You just have to wait 20 years or 25 years to cash it. All right. That's why you invest regularly and consistently. Okay. So that brings me to the next thing. Process-driven investors versus results-driven investors. Yes, I know results are what we all want. Results are what we're in it for. Results are what actually pay us. That's how we make money. Without results, then what do we have? What I'm saying is a process-driven investor goes by a process of, let's say, investing regularly, practicing good personal finance, watching expenses, living within their means, and they surrender. That's the key word here. Keyword, surrender. They surrender the outcome to the process. And by and large, I've seen more process-driven investors do well over time and meet their financial goals than results-driven investors. A results-driven investor is someone who's going to say, like, I want to make sure I catch the newest stocks. I want to make sure I'm in the hottest growth industries, that I'm in the next big, hot tech stock, and they're investing to force better returns. And that's another way to go. I'm not knocking anybody who does it. And people say, oh, you can't invest on your own. You can't invest in stocks. Well, let me correct you, please, because I am a very big believer in individual stocks. The reason people don't do well with individual stocks is because they panic out, they can't wait, they get upset, and they bail. That's the reason. It's the same thing with any kind of investing really in the stock market. But I think people who are in individual stocks are more prone to that because they're trying. I think people are more prone to that because they're trying to force the gains, and they're not surrendering the result. They're not surrendering the outcome. So it's a very big difference between process-driven and results-driven. You could be both. You could have a little bit of both. And I think for your serious money, my own preference, what I want to share with you is, for your serious money, go process-driven. Or all of your money process-driven. But I don't like when people are 100% results-driven, because it's usually a rookie mistake. Okay, they make all the rookie mistakes. So what else? I think that's about it. That's about it for the personal finance things. Let's do a quick share screen. Okay, I want to show you a couple of things, and let me just put my face in here. All right, here I am. See that in the upper left-hand corner? You see this article, the Tilray told 4 warnings for cannabis stock investors about buying into a new market bubble. The author of this is on CNBC, is me. I wrote this, Mitch Goldberg. If you want, I could send it to you, or I could put it in the link. Put it in the link below, or in the description below. But take a look at that, because a couple of years ago, when this was written in 2018, exactly 3 years ago, March, or just about 3 years ago, people were getting carried away, and Tilray went from like $6 to a couple $100 a share. Turned out to be a massive short squeeze. In fact, the Tilray CEO had actually spoken out about this, about what CEOs should do and handle this. Just want to share that with you, because it looks like we have a new cohort of favorite stocks in the Reddit community. And if you see this, Tilray was up 15% today, and Sundial was up 17. I'm sorry. What am I saying? Let me go back. Tilray was up 50% today. It's up another 14% aftermarket trading. But Tilray was up 50% today. Sundial is up almost 80% in one day. So you've got a new cohort of pot stocks, and people are jumping on the bandwagon. I don't know to what extent these stocks are short squeezes, if that's the reason why the Reddit community is getting behind them. But here we go again. So if you're going to be in these, be careful, please. Just be very, very careful. Okay. Markets rebounded a little bit today. Let me make my screen a little bigger so you can see this on your little phone there. Okay. Dow up 61, NASDAQ off 35, S&P off 1 point. All in all, basically a flattish day, oil down a penny. It's just a very uneventful day, which I like, by the way. I am not opposed to an uneventful day in the market. We had, remember a year ago how crazy things were in the market? So let's just take a look. The FANG stocks, FANG M, Facebook, Netflix, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, a mixed day. I mean, yeah, you see Amazon down $18, but it's a 0.5%, and they just had a rally. So, a mixed day for the FANG stocks. When they have a mixed day, usually the overall stock market has a mixed day too, and that certainly was the situation today. And the winners of the day: energy, communications, real estate, utilities. At the bottom of the heat was industrials, which, again, the XLI, the big ETF that tracks industrials, the industrial sector, was off 14 cents per share. I wouldn't look into that. I wouldn't look into anything about that. It's still down 14 cents, and it was up yesterday. I had, industrials were at the top performance yesterday. Energy was up a little bit, almost 2%, but overall the highs and lows were pretty muted today. So that's about it today. I thank you for joining me. I will be back. I see Doug is out there. Doug, if you're still watching, thank you very much for joining me. And Judy's out there. Thank you. Always good to see her. And I'll see you in about 10 seconds because we're in the same house right now. That's it. So you all have a nice evening, and I will see you tomorrow.